Hi, I'm Terry Giuspicio. I'm the senior editor at this magazine, Whole Living. This is my cat, Harry. He's really, really old and cranky. But I thought maybe it'd be nice to introduce him because he's such a big part of my life. Okay, so we've been talking about tips for living a more sustainable life, meaning having the energy to do the things you want to do, because so many of you out there are exhausted and just beat down. You don't know why. So we're just going to talk about making small changes to make that better. Aside from having more sustainable energy, a lot of the reason why people feel draggy is because they are technically overweight. Many of us are struggling to lose weight. And I wanted to give you sort of a little piece of advice on what I've learned when I interview so many experts in the field of wellness and health and all of that. And here's my big tip. It is don't diet. Don't do it. One of my favorite experts on the topic is Brian Wansink, who wrote the book Mindless Eating, which is a must-read. You have to check that book out. And he says that diets simply don't work. Many other people say that too. Why? Because he says your body fights against it, your brain fights against it, and all of modern society and culture fights against it. Because usually when people go on a diet, they cut out everything that they love, and that is the definition of unsustainable diet. Because then you're always feeling like you're struggling and suffering and giving up things you love, and what kind of life is that really? In fact, 95% of the people who go on diets, who lose weight on diets rather, gain it back. And so a great way to know whether you're going to gain weight in 2011 is whether you're on a diet right now. So don't look at diets, short-term crash diets, as a way to lose weight. And that brings up another topic, artificial sweeteners. Diet sodas, diet anything. When you see sugar-free on a package, be suspicious because it means that there's an artificial sweetener in there. And the reason why we want to avoid artificial sweeteners, and this comes from any number of experts, including the nutritionist on the board of Whole Living magazine, Kathy Swift, and she said, artificial sweeteners, your body does not recognize them as sugar because they're not sugar. And so it doesn't solve that sugar craving that you have. As a result, your body keeps wanting that sugar, and in some studies, researchers have found that people who consume artificial sweeteners eat many times more the carbohydrates, somewhere like up to 3 or 5 times more, I believe. Whatever the case, going on a diet and drinking diet sodas and having sugar-free things is no shortcut to health and no shortcut to weight loss either. So don't trick your body. If you want a little sugar, try getting it from natural sources like fruits and also some natural sweeteners, small amounts of raw cane sugar or molasses or maple syrup. You can train your mouth and your brain to not need as much sugar as it's been getting. So don't diet, don't skip all the foods that you love, and don't use artificial sweeteners. And that's my tip for today.